Hi, everybody. It's Monday. I'm having a fantastic day. It's so good to see all of you. I just filmed my reviews for the Creator, which I can drop tomorrow, and Gen V, which I can drop on Wednesday. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships, 80s Model. And I just got my invite to the press screening for Killers of the Flower Moon, and it's in a fancy theater, so I'm pretty excited about it because I got to sit there for 3.5 hours. So, and I'm going to see Killers of the Flower Moon twice because my dad wants to see it. And I bought our tickets as well today. Those tickets are on sale. Hey, Jerome, thank you for gifting a membership. Lady Jennifer Snow, gifting 5 memberships as well. You guys, generous as always. I'm going to do my weekly 5 in just a minute as well. There's no intermission, Mish. There's no trailers, Ricardo, so this isn't a 4-hour experience. This is going to be a 3.5-hour experience, but no food. Thank you, Preston, for gifting a membership. But when I go and see it with my dad, we're going to have a really nice time. I'm excited about it. Hey, Ethan. Oh, Justin, 10 memberships. Oh, wow, you guys are the best. That's right, Gorka. I'm watching this movie. Matthew, 20 memberships. Oh, my God. My goodness. Let me get in here. You guys are so great. Oh, my gosh. Smart girl, thank you for gifting a membership. All right, hold on. Let me gift 5 at the beginning of every week to match your incredible generosity, which constantly blows me away. I'm gifting 5 myself. I do it every first stream of the week. That's right. It's Monday memberships. Who said that? Mish. I like that. Hey, Mikkel. I like the rainbow sticker. Danielle gifted 10 memberships. Look at all these people being able to join the conversation. And we're going to have quite the conversation today. The reason I pushed this stream back by half an hour was that there are my memberships. I wanted to not be distracted feeling I had to because often I'm racing the sun and the weather behind me to film. So I was like, I want to feel that I have the Creator and the Gen V reviews in the bag so that I can just focus on having a great time with you guys for as long as we want to be here. Okay, because we have a lot to discuss. I was almost going to do just 2 stories today, just the strike and the Office reboot. But then I was like, oh, Marty, the gift that keeps on giving, because I have something to say about this. Hey, Dual Non, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Even 1 membership is so appreciated, because look what DS Shin. DS Shin can't believe they're now a member. And see, isn't that nice? Oh, you like my shirt? This is a new shirt. You know who has the best? It's got thumb holes. That's right, Danny. You know who has the best shirts I've discovered? Nordstrom. And you got to buy them all online for some reason. They don't sell them in a lot of the stores. But I got a lot of my shirts from Nordstrom. And I got this one on Nordstrom online. And it's the first time I'm ever wearing it. It's like a butterfly pattern, which is kind of hard to see. But it looks nice. I always buy my shirts what will look good on camera. So I'm always focused on the neckline. Thomas, well, Art Lover just gifted 1 membership, and then Thomas, who was just incredibly generous last week, just gifted 50 memberships, and Noah gifted 5 memberships. It's raining members, literally. Thomas, you're an all-star. That's incredibly, incredibly generous. Writer Boy, thank you for gifting a membership. Bizzle Fries just got a membership. You guys are great. You guys are really, really nice. That's awesome. Shahar, did we beat June? We might be getting close. June was the most gifted memberships ever. Alex, that's so kind of you to do that. Thank you. That's very, very nice of you. You guys are just so nice. Hey, Haunted Autumn. It's just incredible. All right, so thank you so many for joining today's live stream. Yes, as 80s Model said, welcome new members. And if you haven't been gifted a membership or you can't get a membership right now, don't worry about it. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad, you can leave a comment down below. You do this when you need to, when you can. I intentionally make these streams open to all so that everybody can still, to some degree, join in. All right, so we have really interesting stuff to discuss today. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. And there's a lot to go over. The Writers Guild thing in particular is extremely detailed. Oh, Alex just gifted. You just did a very generous gift and now 10 memberships. Very nice. And Jico says, if you could like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Why not if you're having a good time? Matt Damon, spelled differently, just gifted 5 memberships. Did Ethan just get one? Ethan was wondering how you got a membership, and he just got one. The way you get a membership, and then we'll get into today's live stream. And by the way, if you're wondering, there are red boxes around the story that we're discussing at the time. So that if you're wondering, if you're not watching this live and you're like, I just want to get to the stories, well, that's how you can you can always do it. But the way you get gifted a membership, Writer Boy just gifted another membership. The way you get gifted a membership is you have to be engaged with the channel. Jeff Ryan just gifted 20 memberships. You guys, I can't believe it. Wow. So the way it works is that if you are like a member or you were a member previously, it will sometimes give it to somebody who maybe isn't a member right now. If you're a subscriber, if you like the videos, if you comment on the videos. Basically, the more interactive you are with Beyond the Trailer, the more YouTube feels you would appreciate a membership and therefore gives it to you. That's right, Home Alone face, Mika. All right, okay, let's get on to the first story of the day. But again, your generosity, just Salty Snack just gifted 5 memberships as well. Just so kind. All right, Salty Snack. I do love a salty snack. You know what I had for dinner last night? I had a new discovery, and it stuck with my new diet. So the way it works is I had roast chicken, and then I put Parmesan cheese and slivered almonds on it, and it was delicious. Oh my goodness, it was good. I had a great time last night. I watched 3 episodes of Gen V, and I had that dinner. Ryan, thank you for gifting a membership. I love you too, MM92. Now, the way live streams work is that Aided Buffalo, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Mr. Love says, glad to be here watching for years. Decided to rejoin, currently on strike with Blue Cross in Michigan. So this helps with morale. Oh, I'm glad. A lot of people are on strike in a lot of different industries. And I'm glad that the Writers Guild was successful to show a success factor. And I hope that your strike is successful as well, Mr. Love, because I think people are fighting for really important stuff. All right, so keep your comments to the story at hand until we get to the Ask Me Anything section at the end of the video, which is 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes long, the end section, so you can definitely get your question in there. And during the Writers Guild one in particular, even if you super chat me while I'm doing the main story, I'm not going to answer you because there's so much to go over. It's going to be impossible for anybody to watch it after the live. All right. So let's see here. Writer Boy, thank you for another gifted membership. Oh, and Shelly's about seaweed snacks. You know, that's very popular in sushi. And iReady just gifted 5 memberships. Another 5. Wow. Welcome to the conversation, everybody. Welcome to the conversation. All right, let's boop it up. Let's boop it up, baby. Hold on. I got lots of pictures today. You're going to love this. All right, so story number 1. Boop. Victory boop. Victory boop. It finally happened. It finally happened. The writers in the studios, they've tentatively reached a deal. So this is such a complex story that I have talking points and an arrow so that you know what we're talking about within this conversation, because it's just so much to go over. And also a very weird misunderstanding where a lot of people were tweeting me, why do writers get guaranteed work? And I was like, nobody's guaranteeing writers any work. Where did you get that from? All right, so let's go through it. So how did it go down, right? Well, I think that the thing that, because some people were pointing out and saying this is the exact same deal that the studios could have cut in April. So nobody should say they're doing a great thing because they're the ones who decided to bleed everybody out, their savings and their finances until frickin' late September. But I think what really kicked them in the butt was the stocks going down. The stocks going down. I think, you know, that's what really determines the CEO salaries. And they were like, oh, the stock price is dismal. Then also, I think they desperately need content. That's right, Mika, the October deadline was correct. The industry felt largely this would be over by October. And it is, I think people feel SAG's going to go pretty fast. Because really, the CEOs are like, we need content. Because you know what's happening? Not only are the stocks going down and they need content, but audiences are finding other things to do. And they cannot have that. Audiences are like, oh, I do enjoy video games, and I'm also enjoying watching these sporting events. And I think they're like, uh-oh, we don't need habits to be formed. Look at the habits that were formed during the pandemic, which are still hurting the box office. So I think they were like, we got to get back in here. So it took them 5 days of discussions, but the studio executives, they had 4 studio executives show up. And they were there I think for only 2 of the days. And they spent one of the days sitting in a conference room by themselves, killing time while the lawyers and the representatives for the WGA talked. Wouldn't it have been hilarious to be a fly on the wall in that room? I have to tell you, when you work in the entertainment business, particularly when you're on set, a lot of the time is just sitting around doing nothing. When I filmed my Zombieland 2 cameo, the first part of the day, I literally sat around in the morning, just like, and it was weird. It was like me and Al Roker. And it's like, after a while, you run out of things to say to Al Roker. All right? And that was like, we were in there for like 3 to 4 hours, just sitting there. Luke Wilson came in for a minute, and because they were doing like B-roll. And it was weird. You're like, so bizarre. So anyway, it was Bob Iger, David Zaslav, Ted Sarandos, who runs Netflix. And then, no, Britt, I couldn't ask for a photo. I got to be cool in there. I got to be cool. I'm like, hey. And I knew Al Roker because I'd interviewed him a couple of months beforehand. So, like, we were already pals, and I already had video of us together. And we were in the movie together. I took one photo of all 4 of us in zombie makeup on set, which I had posted, once I was able to reveal that. So that was fun, though. That was very fun. We were pals. So anyway, so they just had to sit there. Yeah, that's right, Mika. Donna Langley from Universal. Glad to see a lady in there. They were just sitting in there, and also they called up some of their other studio heads to be like, are you okay if we promise them this? So also the lawyers, an army of lawyers, because that's really important. One of the things I wanted to tell you about today was how entertainment deals are done, because hopefully this will be helpful to some of you someday, and also at least give you a better understanding of the process. So entertainment deals, you need a lawyer who specializes in entertainment law. Not just any lawyer can look at this stuff. It is thick and ridiculously convoluted. In fact, when I do deals, I have to have a lawyer to go over it because it's just too complex. Sometimes a smaller deal, I can kind of read it myself, but even then I'm like, this is crazy, man. And even once a lawyer tells you about the deal and says this is okay to sign, I think there's a big part of you that's like, I'm not quite sure what's in here still. Because it's just so crazy. Like, Black Mirror, when they were talking about contracts in the Jane is Awful or whatever episode, or whatever that was called, that's very accurate. So it's also, you need to have the language. And the Writers Guild was very nervous about the studios putting in loopholes and language that they could later interpret to their benefit. And that's kind of still what's being worked on. That's why they haven't actually signed the deal yet, because they're, Joan is awful. Thank you, Alex. They haven't totally signed the deal yet because they're still working on getting these things perfect. So when they said best and final offer, that's why everybody was scared and upset, because they meant, do you mean that we can't negotiate this language? When I negotiate an entertainment contract, and anybody does, it's very often massaging the language, being like, oh, I don't want you to say that, or I don't want you to say this, or we need to say it this way, or I want to take out this sentence and put in this one instead. So when the lawyer said, this is our best and last and final offer, it was like, does that mean there are no corrections? Because that means you have to sign it exactly as is. And I have to tell you, you should, if you don't think a contract is good, walk away. I would also say 50% of the time, maybe even a little bit more, they'll come back. But I've walked away from contracts. I know other people who've walked away from contracts, and sometimes they don't come back. So you have to be okay with walking away. But nobody wants to be taken advantage of. And so the writers were like, we will walk away. We don't care if this is best and final. We'll go back to the picket line. That's why they're saying you have to be on the picket line. Even now, they're saying the deal is not done. Do not work. Be on the picket line until we actually sign. And also for that reason, they still have not, I'm glad you guys like the thumb holes. They still have not revealed what the deal points are, because they don't want anybody to get ahead of themselves or for people to start fighting before this is all done. So I have a friend who's actually a writer, and they think that the deal points will probably maybe be released on Wednesday, because they're all off today. I think they wanted to get it done for Yom Kippur. Pretty much everybody in Los Angeles is not working today, especially in the entertainment business. Either you're celebrating Yom Kippur, or so many people are that it's not worth you being in the office. So tomorrow they'll probably meet back again, check the language, sign it, and maybe on Wednesday or late tomorrow they'll get the points out. But the WGA has said they're extremely happy with the deal. They're like, we did good. So that's wonderful. They're taking pictures of themselves in the negotiating room smiling. They're like, look at us. We fought the law and we won. You know, they beat the studio system. That's very exciting. It's a very David and Goliath story. They're celebrating a dark savior that they actually did this. I think a lot of people felt that, the studios felt they were going to wait them out. And it seems like they actually are getting a fair deal, which is incredible. All right, so that's that first part. Let me move on to the next thing here. So no deal points yet, as I said. Now, I want to speak about this for just a second, okay? Here's one thing that's very confusing, and I will describe it as best I can. The DGA, the WGA, and the SAG unions, which is the directors, writers, and the actors, all have a most favored nation situation, where if one of them negotiates a really good deal, all three of them get it. That seems a little crazy to me, and it makes the Directors Guild particularly evil, because they let the writers be out of work for so long and lose all their money, and the actors, well, the directors were able to continue to work, yet will get the benefits of this negotiation. So you're like, that seems unfair. But that's what apparently they're doing. So the SAG Guild, by the way, only has to negotiate special things that are unique to them. They are already going to get what the Writers Guild has already negotiated, maybe, I think, like in terms of residuals to a degree. So that's kind of what they're working on there. And nobody can go back to work yet until the deal is actually signed, which should be very soon. And then, by the way, not only does it have to be signed, but they have to vote. We'll do the what happens next in just a second. And as many of you are saying, that's right, Drew Barrymore, and I saw people joking about this on social media, she really only had to wait like 2 weeks, and then she would have not had all this happen to her. So pretty unfortunate for Drew Barrymore. The rumor is that the talk shows will be returning on Monday, the 2nd, October 2nd, a week from today. Talk shows think they'll be back. And SNL thinks they'll be back also for the first weekend in October, which will be a week from this coming Saturday. So they're ready to go. They're ready to jump in as soon as this thing is signed. And they still can't have, by the way, the talk shows can't have actors who are promoting struck work on the shows. So they need to get people who are doing something else, or if they have a waiver, so that you're going to see those kind of guests on SNL and on talk shows until SAG gets their deal. But still, those shows can go. All right, so let's move on to this ridiculous misconception, which I really want to clear up. Haunted Autumn, I don't think Dune 2 will be undelayed. I think they already moved it. I think they can't. I think it was partially the reason that Dune was moved is also I don't think Warner Brothers Discovery can afford to release it this year. So I think they're just going to, and also I just think they can't keep going back and forth like this. So I think it'd be ridiculous. I think Warner Brothers has their hands full with the movies that they have. All right, so let's talk about this thing, okay? Guaranteed work for writers. I was shocked when I tweeted last night that they had reached a deal, and some people were like, why should writers be guaranteed work? And I was like, where are you getting this from? This makes absolutely no sense. Not every Writers Guild member will be employed because of this deal. Let me tell you what they were looking to protect, to make it clear. Studios have been wanting to whittle down projects to as few writers as possible. Let me tell you how it goes. I had someone explain this to me this morning, so I will explain it to you. And I even have a specific example for you. All right, so let's say Disney. Disney says, Dave Filoni can write Ahsoka all by himself. Why do I need a whole room of writers for another show if Dave Filoni is only one writer? And that's the problem that they're having in Hollywood right now. There's intense pressure from studios to have as little writers as possible, ideally just one. And I mean, even if you don't like the way some writers do work, that's just because they're bad writers. And nobody's saying that the bad writers should continue to work. What we're looking to protect is job opportunity. Now, and also diversity of voices. And I think it's beneficial to have more than one writer, okay? As Sean just said, maybe Dave Filoni shouldn't be writing Ahsoka by himself. His animated shows are written by a writer's room. Dave Filoni's animated shows have multiple writers, although The Mandalorian, for instance, is largely written just by Jon Favreau. And maybe it would be beneficial if he wasn't just the only writer, right? All right, so anyway, you have to have it that writing is a feasible career. If there aren't enough opportunities for people to get a job as a writer to support themselves, to eventually become a superstar, you're going to have less superstars. Nobody will be able to pursue writing if they don't hire enough people. It's the same thing as saying you can't have only one person make a car when that really should be 6 jobs. You can't have a robot or AI come in and do all the work. I would say it's similar to that, to insisting there be jobs for humans. And so you need a writer's room. You need a group of writers, and they need to have writing assistants and writing interns. And that's how the ladder works. That's how you climb into becoming a writer. Nobody becomes a big successful writer overnight. You need to have that internship. You need to be that writer's assistant. You need to be in a writer's room. And then eventually you become a head writer. And then eventually you become a showrunner. And then maybe you jump to feature films. It's very important. Also, another example someone gave me that I thought was fantastic is they said that some people can write a whole story themselves. But not everybody has that ability. Sometimes someone comes in and they say, I have a great idea for a movie, but I'm having a little trouble fleshing it out. Let's bring in some other writers to work on it with me. The creator, for instance, which I'm reviewing tomorrow, has 2 writers on it. Gareth Edwards, but he brought in Chris Weitz to help him. Hollywood studios, they will say to that guy who has a great idea, well, this other dude or woman wrote the screenplay all by themselves. They didn't need any help. So you better figure it out or we don't even want to talk to you. So you would really be limiting job opportunity and the types of people who could be in that space. So I don't think it's a good idea. I think it limits creativity. I think you should hire the number of people it takes to get the job done, quite frankly. I wish they'd stop hiring bad writers or writers that clearly have handed in crap before, but one thing at a time. I don't think the whole profession needs to suffer because of that. For those of you who don't know what a TV, by the way, has also, I'll tell you something else interesting about, so let me also say this. So on the creative side, it also benefits to have a lot of different voices in the room. I think that sometimes they fight against a bad idea. It's great to have a sounding board. Dave Filoni's like, or Jon Favreau is like, I want to have this whole thing with Lizzo and Jack Black. And if you had a whole writer's room, they might be like, I think that's a bad idea. Or, somebody in the room might be like, I'm a little nervous about that. Or maybe we should at least add something else to balance it out. It's so important to have multiple writers in the room. Also, when it comes to writing for a big show, sometimes you'll have a writer who's responsible for just one character. They only write the dialogue and the choices, and they do the story arc for that one character because they know that character best. And then also, if you have especially as we have more diverse stories, you want someone in the room who can speak to that experience. And if you can only have one writer, by the way, that's the person who's probably going to get the job. But if you can have multiple writers in the room, you can still hire across the spectrum and everybody can contribute to the story. So I think it's really, really important. I think it's extremely important to do this. Also, TV, you have to remember, has a number of episodes being worked on simultaneously. And so you need multiple writers, multiple directors, and that's why the showrunner is the head of a series, because they're kind of like the conductor and they're overseeing all of it. So that was what they really were fighting for in terms of like staffing. They also, of course, were fighting for AI protection and residuals, and we'll find out what they actually got very soon. All right, so Wade, LA diversity doesn't just work for LA. There's a very diverse group of people going to see movies these days, and if you want the most amount of money, you need to speak to the largest amount of people, and that's just really important. All right. What happens next? Hold on, let me clear my notes so I know where I am. There's so many notes. All right, what happens next? Well, then, Dr. Long Monkey, it is true for TV. Do you want a broad audience? You need to have more people tune in. The fracturing of audiences has been, I think, very bad for the entertainment industry, having just a small group of people watch everything. And it really takes a lot of the power away. People have been wondering if anyone will ever get Seinfeld or Friends rich ever again. And there's a very good chance that they won't. And I don't think that seems particularly fair. Like when they sold Seinfeld in like the 1990s, Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David both got $250 million apiece. In the 1990s! Do you know how much money that is today? But they earned it. and they deserve that money. And so, if the entertainment business, as I told you before, the entertainment business is a gamble. 90% or perhaps even more never can even make a living in the business. So the only way that you can attract talent is if they're with the carrot that you could hit the jackpot. Being in the entertainment business is a gamble. You are really gambling your life. So that's why I always tell you should consider perhaps other parts of the industry, and you could still be a part of the movie magic. Not everybody needs to be a creative, and you could still have a very rewarding career. But it's really, really tough. It's an extremely difficult business. All right, so let's talk about what happens next. So the WGA voters. That's right, KP Productions. Seinfeld is still relevant. Everybody on that show is still making money off of it. When I was watching Smartless, they were joking about the fact that Sean Hayes, Smartless is Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes. But Sean Hayes is the only one of them who was on a traditional sitcom, Will and Grace. And they were teasing him about the fact that they had nowhere near the amount of money that Sean Hayes did because of how much money you can make off of a sitcom. That's why I started watching Will and Grace again, because I was like, I'd like some more Sean Hayes in my life. He's great. All right, so anyway. Next, the WGA has to vote on this. They probably will. They've been out of money for so long that they need to vote on it. So let me do the little subsection. So the WGA vote. So they got to vote on it. I think that they will almost for sure say yes. Because everybody needs to get back to work. And also, the negotiators aren't stupid. They said this was a great deal, so it probably is. So they'll say, we like this deal, it's good to go. They'll put it to a vote. The vote should happen. I think this will be wrapped up by the end of the week, and so that everybody can go back to work starting on Monday. I don't know the quality of the first show next week because they'll have to hit the ground running. They'll probably start working on the weekend. They'll probably call their like the shows, like the late night talk shows and stuff, and the daytime talk shows. We'll probably call everybody in on Saturdays. Alien Moose Studios. Jason Bateman was on Hogan Family, but it was never that big of a show. Giancarlo, that's so generous of you. Thank you for gifting 50 memberships. That's very, very kind of you. Jeff Ryan, did I thank you for 20 memberships? I hope I did. Very, very generous. If you gifted memberships while I was talking, I think I got everybody. All right. Giancarlo, that's incredible. All right, so the Writers Guild has to vote. Then SAG-AFTRA has to negotiate their deal. They'll be building on the shoulders of the WGA deal, but they have their own specific things that they need to address. For instance, they have to work on artificial intelligence and computers replacing extras and not giving them proper compensation. They have to work on ownership of voice and image. You're seeing a lot of people creating like fake versions of talent without their consent. Big names already too. So SAG is going to try and take care of that. Oh, thank you, Franco, for the 5 memberships. Very nice of you. And then something else that they really want to fix is taped auditions. You're going to hear a lot of discussion about this when we move over to focusing on the SAG deal. Because right now, during the pandemic, everybody had to tape their audition. However, they kept that. It used to be you had to go to the audition place. All you had to do was show up in person. You had your little sides. You had your little piece of paper. You went in the room and you read on camera. They had a little video camera, and you've seen it in so many movies and stuff like that, right? Hey, Malibu J, right? Like you've seen that. And you would read, and they would have you on their own tape. But they were like, oh, it was pretty nice having everybody send us tapes, all right? And it was much cheaper and easier for us. So they said everybody has to now self-tape all the time. And that's right, Mr. Magic. Self-tape is extremely expensive. Particularly, Dr. Long Monkey, here's the problem. Some people, to give themselves an advantage, started doing full hair and makeup and full lighting and camera setups to give themselves extremely professional taped auditions. And that is an unfair advantage. Also, they're spending tremendous amounts of money. Do you know how many auditions you have to go on before you get work? Hollywood, especially being an actor, is a business of rejection. You just need one time for them to say yes. But you have to hear so many no's. You got to have a thick skin to be in the entertainment business, because you are just going to hear no after no after no after no. So you are going to be auditioning probably, if you're lucky, 5 times a week maybe, okay? Maybe even more. And imagine if you had to pay to self-tape all that. I mean, who's going to work the camera? You can't do that yourself. Who's going to read with you? You need to get someone to read lines with you. Whereas when you went in before in person, that all you had to do was just show up. So it's really, really complicated. And they think it's creating an unfair advantage for certain people. And that some people who are actors who are struggling financially can't even compete in the audition process. And that seems really unfair. And then also, it was really underhanded. Some casting directors were starting to get in on it and saying, oh, we'll give you tips on how to film your auditions. And they're like, but aren't you the casting director? Isn't that really unfair? And they would offer services, and it was really, really bad. So I wish they would get rid of it. And I think they should go back to in-person auditions, quite frankly. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Even one membership is appreciated. I think that it's just, I just think it's not appropriate. All right, so SAG-AFTRA will have to negotiate that deal. Some really mean things are being said about Fran Drescher, too. And I think it's because she's a woman, and I don't appreciate it. She is a powerhouse. She's going to do a great job for her union. And I thought there was some pretty misogynistic, disgusting things being said about her. All right, so IATSE. Ooh, IATSE. This is complex. So IATSE, they're not happy. IATSE basically found themselves having to go on strike, even though they're not on strike. And I have to say, it really sucks for them. I feel very bad for them. For those of you who don't know what IATSE represents basically everybody on a movie set, everybody below the line. They do the costume design, they do the production design, they do the people, the grips, the people who are handling the lights, the people who are handling the cables, like tons of stuff. And these people have been out of work ever since basically when SAG went on strike, so for about 2 months. And they've been hurting, and they're very upset about it. Also, a lot of them tend to be more blue collar and conservative, so they already really hate Hollywood. And so it's like, well, why are you guys working in Hollywood if you hate it so much? But so I've been seeing like some awful comments. Like, and part of me is like, are these paid? Are these from the studio? I mean, they're just so awful and so unsympathetic. Although I have to say that IATSE is like, is anyone going to support us when we have to go on strike maybe next year? That's a good question, right? Although if they go on strike, nobody can film. It would be absolutely horrible to hire anybody to scab this stuff. I mean, that would be disgusting. The writers don't necessarily have to support IATSE because they can do their work without them, but I would expect the actors to, especially because the actors look at them all day long. Who do you think drives you from your trailer to your set? IATSE. Who do you think is standing next to you and doing your lighting and making sure the light is on you that's well? Who do you think's holding the microphone to pick up your lines? IATSE. I mean, if the actors don't support IATSE, they're nuts. One of Brad Pitt's famous pieces of advice that he gave was make friends with the cinematographer because they're going to decide how you look. It's the same thing. Pay attention to who's around you. So IATSE has their deal up next year. And they're going to they might potentially go on strike. Now, the question is, can they afford to go on strike? Because they've already lost all their money in these 2 months. That is a really unfortunate situation. I hope that some actors might give them money as well. I would say IATSE is so upset about this that if I were the actors who had millions and millions of dollars, I would give some money to IATSE, to whatever fund they have to pay people's rent while they're on strike. Because I think there's some healing needs to be done. We'll get to that in a moment. Because like IATSE, it does sound like IATSE Enter for None, but IATSE is like really upset. Because I mean, given the choice, they would not have gone on strike. They would have gone back to work, quite frankly, but it doesn't matter. They had to. So I think that it's important to support them in their own situation. But they're trying to fold VFX into IATSE. Marvel just voted. They're upset, Nina, because they lost so much money in work. They're like, why did we have to go on strike? They lost tons of money. And, because a lot of people below the line don't get paid a ton and their work is cyclical, they don't have a consistent wage. They don't have consistent employment. They were really hurt financially, really hurt financially. And again, they hate the writers and the actors and the directors anyway. They really hate them. It's rough. It's rough on a set. Nothing's easy in life. All right, so they are folding in VFX. Marvel, for instance, just voted to have their people, the VFX people who work within Marvel just voted to be unionized. And I think that animation, I think you're going to see a lot more people unionizing in industries. I think animation is going to do more unionization. They have a union to some degree, but they don't have very good protections. And I think that you're going to see video games seriously unionize. The SAG is already getting involved in that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw VFX people who work in video games, because video games generate an incredible amount of revenue, and very little of that trickles down to the people who actually make the games. So considering how successful the writers and the actors have been, maybe other people will be like, maybe we should do this. All right, let's go to healing. Healing. Oh, everybody's got to love each other, man. We can't hate each other forever. Or can we? That's a question I have for you. So we have to make up with IATSE, right? So that'd be first on my list. I'd be like, IATSE, I love you. I'm so sorry you guys were hurt. I bought everybody some food for set, okay? But then how about executives? You know, Bob Iger and Zaslav showed up. They showed up for these final negotiations and they got it done. But will they ever be forgiven for the horrible things that they said? Right? I mean, you have to go into the room with them. You have to talk to them. They're still going to be the heads of these studios. You're still going to be negotiating deals with them. How are you going to do that? How are you not going to just be like, didn't you want me to lose my home? Like, how is that going to happen? So I think, like, I have to tell you, I personally think it will never be the same. And it will always be there, but I think people will be professional. I think, because, there's nothing you can do about it. Those people aren't going to go away. So you just have to, I think everybody's become a little bit more savvy and a little bit more aggressive. And I think everybody's a little bit more like, we're not friends. It's show business, not show friends. But everybody acted like friends. And maybe they'll go back to that. But I hope in the back of their head, they remember that it's show business. And then, content gap. Oh, it's coming. It's already here to some degree. No matter what, thank you, Alien Moose Studios, for gifting a membership. There's still going to be a content gap. I think that the rest of this year will hurt, and I think a little bit into next year too. Let's see how long writing can move forward, and as I said, and Movie Math yesterday, a lot of scripts need to be rewritten right now, so that can start right away. But in terms of production beginning again, they have to wait until SAG is settled, and we'll see how long that takes. It could be done in a couple of weeks. It could take till the end of October. SAG by no means is going to back down. And I also want to point out that the actors continued to work even when the Writers Guild was on strike on projects that had already been cast and were going into production. So I think that the writers will support the actors for sure, but the writers will go back to work. They just will, as I said, not have guests on the shows that are doing struck work for SAG. And then I think probably you won't have any writers working on, they will obviously still won't be able to film. So there we go. That's the first story of the day. Look how long we talked about that for. 40 minutes, baby, 40 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about this story in particular before we move on to two more stories? Mish, we'll do a poll on The Office. This is too complex, I think, for a poll. Mandy. Mandy says, hi, Grace. How much time do you think it will take for everything to go back to normal? Well, somebody DM'd me just before the stream and said, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, baby. We'll be back to normal. I think maybe by the end of October. I think that's a reasonable guess. But I think like for everything to seem like it's normal with no content gap, maybe like the summer next year, summer 2024. Some great stuff coming out right now, though. The Creator in Gen V. D. Brent Hansen says, ran to my office to let you know I'm with a patient who's a writer, and he said they go back as soon as the guild gives the okay. That's right, Brent. Oh, that's interesting. Brent, I always see your comments. You got to tell me what you do because I always know you're seeing stuff early. And tell your patient that I'm so happy to support writers. CH says, do you think streaming will share viewership numbers for residuals? Well, CH, the rumor is that it's going to be based on subscribership. So they still don't have to share the numbers. Those studios, they're so mean. I love it. Let's see here. Ian, I'm glad you made it. Josh says, do you think streaming services will suffer from this deal? I need to see the points, but I think that they aren't, they need content. So something had to be worked out. Martin, radio, I'm so glad you're enjoying the stream. Toon Dude 19, we don't know any of the details of yet because they're waiting until the language is worked out to reveal them. So we have no idea what they actually got. We just know they're very happy about it. Dwight, I'm not sure if stunt people have a union. I think they do to some degree, but you never really hear about it. You think they would. Let's see here. Look at Leon trying to fast forward. We'll move to the next story in a minute. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see here. Jerome says, hey, Grace, do you think AI will be phased out of Hollywood, or do you think the unions have conceded? I think that, as some people have said, AI is, it's Pandora's box. You can't put it back in. But I think that there need to be very strict rules as to how it can be used so that people don't lose their jobs over it. And I think you need to be careful about how it's used. Like, I think farming real life human work is not appropriate. I think that, people were very upset about AI being used for the opening credits for Secret Invasion. I believe rightfully so. And also they were awful. So that robot was not particularly talented. Talk about, you guys, a lot of people were like, the writing sucks, let a robot do it. Well, what makes you think the robot's going to do any better a job? So I think that's funny. But no, I think AI, I think you can't get rid of it. I think people will even use it secretly, and you'll never be able to tell if sometimes. But hopefully we've protected jobs and the future of human. I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. Hopefully we've created the future of human creativity. I mean, hopefully we've protected the future of human creativity. Let's see here. That's right, Evan Henderson. The deal does last for only 3 years. But 3 years is a long time, and a lot of damage can be done. And as you can see, these deals are typically for a short period of time, and strikes are rare. So it should be fine. Martin Anderson says, can the SNL cast be on TV? Aren't they members of SAG? That's a great question. Is that really a news show? I'm not sure about that, Martin. Maybe SNL might be going a little bit too fast here. Josh Loves Movies says, do you think that the studios will quickly strike a fair deal with the actors after the writers to have both the strikes end by the end of this year so they can return to filming movies and shows? Well, Josh Loves Movies, I think that speed is the name of the game. I think they will also sit down in a room and be like, let's get this done. But I think at the same time, they're not going to just give everything away. And actors are asking for a lot. I heard some things like they want to be paid to audition, which I thought was stupid. I'd be like, you guys can go on strike for as long as you want. I'm not paying you an audition. Forget it. There's no way. I do think that auditioning on tape is not good, but I do think paying anybody to audition is ridiculous. That's right, Ryan. It's going to be awkward at work for a while. Let's see here. Martin Radio, I'm glad you're enjoying the future. I'm glad you're team AI. Caden, Black Mirror is getting awfully realistic. It's ridiculous. Dory, it's always nice to see you. I love you too. Let's see here. I do agree, Hander, that stunt people need Oscars. Alwatch says, when will producers start announcing stuff? As soon as the writer's deal is signed, they can start announcing new projects because they can start making deals for new scripts and stuff like that. So packaging stuff. They can't package any actors in there, but they can start packaging in writers and directors. So you'll see stuff start to move. Let's see here. Kareem says, does anyone think some writers will use AI secretly? Kareem, I think for sure they will. For sure. Randy, I'm so glad you're enjoying my strike coverage. That means so much to me. I want to make sure I get it right. Thank you. I took 45 minutes to get it right. Let's see here. Aiden says, what are the chances that things will fall through? Almost zero. I think people would get upset with the writers at this point if that happened. Especially because the writers said, we love this deal. If they suddenly were like, but we're not signing it, then I think everybody would be like, come on! Neptuno says, what is AI without human ideas? Well, that's the scary part. Human ideas to get them started, but then it just becomes another person, right? It's just an artificial one. And then at what point are they no longer artificial? That's kind of what the Creator and Blade Runner are about. At what point does AI become another individual with rights? Hey, Ghoul, thank you for your generosity. Ashaman, you just got here. I love it. Let's see here. Alan Hill points out that SNL is on a talk show contract. Well, good for them. That's the SAG has some crazy rules, man. Staggervore says, could Superman Legacy end up being delayed? I don't think so. I think they were so far out, they're okay. And I think James Gunn is not one of those really slow. It depends if they needed extensive reshoots. But James Gunn is not that kind of a director. He tends, for better or worse, and I liked Guardians 3 quite a bit. It did very well, so sometimes for better. He's pretty much knows what he wants and gets it. Josh Loves Movie says, HBO said that The Last of Us Season 2 could start writing scripts when the writer's strike ends. Exactly. Oh, CH, I'm glad you're enjoying this too. Oh, that makes me so happy. You guys are really great. Thank you, Martin Radio. Let's see here. Alawatch says, what was it Zaz and Iger who said, sure, y'all can get rights, or did the shareholders push them to do it, or they'll be fired? No, I don't think that the shareholders pushed them. I think that they could read the writing on the wall, as I said at the beginning of the stream. I think Zazie and Iger were like, boy, our stock is in the garbage. And, and their whole job is to keep the stock up. That's the whole reason they make so much money. They're more concerned with the stock than anything else. So just like when sometimes I've been at places that have like ads that run on a site, and they're more concerned with the ads than they are any of the content, because that's the revenue, which I always found very interesting. I was like, but why is this in the content? What gets the ads? And they were like, we don't care. So on that note, I think it's time to move to the next. Oh, I have one more. Toon Dude 19 says, will Fantastic Four and Blade be delayed? Well, Blade is already delayed. I don't know if Blade actually is ever going to get made at this point, quite frankly. Fantastic Four, no, I don't know what's going on with Marvel. They got to get their scripts in order. If I were Marvel, I'm so glad that the writer's strike is over, because they need to focus just on writing. I'm like, I don't even want to start production unless the script is good. Danny, I'm glad you're having a good time. And thank you, Alberto. That's very kind of you to say. All right, let's get on to the next story of the day. It's time. Boop. Oh, The Office reboot. Puck News broke this story. The Office reboot. Puck News, by the way, is very interesting to me. Puck News is their chief entertainment correspondent, used to be the editor-in-chief of The Hollywood Reporter until he was fired. And now he went to work for Puck News. And he still breaks some pretty solid stories. But the whole stupid thing's behind a paywall. So they don't get enough credit for the stories that they break, because they are behind a ridiculously dumb paywall. Hey, Ross, Wanda, no more, yes, right, no more Rick and Morty writers. Polly, want a poll? You guys all want a poll. Okay, let me put the poll in. Hold on, let me do the poll. I urge you to potentially wait to vote, though, until I tell you my side of the story. Okay, so would you watch a reboot of The Office? Sure would. Heck no. And then need to see. Depends on show. No, need to see trailer. That's the better way to do it. Need to see trailer. All right. Nobody knows where this is going to play. Is it a traditional sitcom? Are they going to try and bring back the sitcom? No one knows. Oh, why didn't it go there? Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. 1 second. There it goes. Okay. Nobody knows where this is going. This was just something the Puck News broke, that Greg Daniels, who's like, I'd like some more money. He's like, but I don't have any other ideas. I know. I'll reboot The Office. Although he does other good stuff. Isn't he behind Upload, which like nobody watches, but I'm sure excited about season 3. So he's like, he's going to do a reboot of The Office. And it was revealed today that that is in the works and will probably be officially announced as soon as the writer's deal is signed, right? Bubbles Emporium. Greg Daniels has so much money. Greg Daniels is not only making UK office money, but he's making office money off of the NBC version of the show, which is a huge successful thing. So Greg Daniels has he's one of the last of the sitcom billionaires, or well, they don't have that much money, but super millionaires. Okay, Chaz, I appreciate that, but I got to focus on what I'm discussing. But I'll answer your question, Chaz. I'm hoping they're able to start doing new original content instead of 1 and 2. We need more character development. That's why I liked Ahsoka and Mandalorian. But those are established stories. Are you talking about character development on The Office? I'm not sure if this is even what we're talking about, quite frankly. All right, but I have pictures. I has pictures. That's right, CH. Abbott Elementary very much is a reboot of The Office, but as a school. But this is an office, okay? All right, so 51% of you have already confidently voted heck no. But wait till I talk to you about this, all right? Oh, yeah, Ricky Gervais also has office money. Okay, so hold on. So I've got pictures for you. Hold on, here they are. All right, so let's discuss why I think this is actually a great idea. I would greenlight this for sure. I love this idea. I think it's absolutely genius. Let me get rid of the story thing because it's in the way. I think it's such a good idea. I'm super excited about it. I hope it's well written, but if it's well written, I think it's going to be really fantastic. All right, so let me tell you why. This very morning, before I even saw this article about a reboot, that's right, it's not a remake, it's a reboot. I saw a story on IGN about how, Ubisoft? I always forget how to pronounce their name. But how everybody who works there, all 4,000 employees, are furious. They're like, we hate working here. The corporate culture is a disaster. And I think a lot of the things that they were complaining about could be addressed on this new The Office. Because here's the thing. Since The Office aired, and I also want to point out that while they had some diverse characters, the core of The Office wasn't particularly diverse. And so I think that I don't really know I think that The Office, to me, holds up the worst of the sitcoms. It also has, I think, some, not in good taste jokes that are that wouldn't play today and certainly could never be made today. And while The Office does do very well in reruns, I think that I don't think it relates to what it's like to be in an office today. I think that the pandemic has the pandemic and the tech industry. And by the way, I don't know if this is what they're doing. This is just my thoughts on it and my idea and what I could see for it to be. Okay, where I just think if you did something that was more like the tech business and what is happening post-pandemic, it would really feel like the experience that everybody's having today. So I also think they should focus a little bit more. No, the cast is not returning. This is a total reboot. It has nothing it's not a sequel. It's not a redo. It's like, I watched all the Office episodes when they aired on NBC. Thank you very much. I haven't watched them recently, but I watched them when the show originally aired. I fell in love with Michael Scott like the rest of you. So anyway, I think this is a good idea. Some of you just are not being won over, but I think it's a good idea. All right, so also I think Michael Scott seems tame to today's corporate culture. Think about what we just talked about with Zaslav and Iger. Wouldn't it be interesting to have that addressed, and that stuff just doesn't happen in Hollywood. How about that woman who was arguing, the CEO who was arguing with her team, saying that even though there isn't enough money for you to get a bonus, but while she still gets a bonus, you should still do your hardest work. I mean, that was incredible. That is just ripe for this kind of a show, that kind of a situation. So I think they can also focus on, as some of you are saying, remote work. I think you could totally focus on that. And then also I have pictures of what offices look like more today. And people, I think the corporate culture and what my friend called gummy bears and Legos. Gummy bears and Legos, where they say, oh, look at all the free food we're going to give you, and you get a lot of fun toys, but we don't pay you as much. And you don't have a 401k, and you don't get any savings for retirement, but aren't you having fun right now? And I think that's something that's really seeped into office culture, which is a problem. And that's something that the tech industry initiated. So it's like, you can give me all the free food. It's like, I always told you, it's like what Dave Chappelle used to say, "Pay me, biatch." I had to edit it for general audiences. But he was like, "I don't care about anything else. I want to see it reflected in my check. Thank you." And I think that was great. Hey, Cowboy Kush. Superstore. Raghu was saying that was a little bit like this. That's interesting. And Bizzle Fries gets what I'm talking about, working in HR, the tech perspective, right? The tech bro perspective. So I want to tell you two of my own stories from the few times that I worked in an office. I was never part of an office officially. I always was kind of like a satellite, and I could work there, but I actually wasn't an employee. So maybe that's one of the reasons that helped me find these situations more amusing, because I didn't actually work there. Hey, Jeff. So I have two stories that could write on their own be office episodes for this new show. All right, so the first one is that I was working at an office where they made a deal, and suddenly we had free snacks. And it was fantastic to get free peanut M&Ms. We were like, "Are you serious? We can just have as many of these as we want?" And it was just a beautiful candy jar of peanut M&Ms that was in the office, and it was just steps away from your desk. So every time you would get up to go somewhere, you'd be like, "I think I could use and they had like these little cups, and you put some peanut M&Ms in it, but then you'd be like, "I think I'd like some more peanut M&Ms. This is just so delicious." So what happened to me is eventually I was like, "This is too many peanut M&Ms." So one day the peanut M&Ms ran out, and I was like, "Hallelujah! Now we won't eat as many peanut M&Ms." But yet the very next day, someone had refilled the peanut M&Ms. And I was like, no. It is so unhealthy for you to refill these. Don't refill them. And it should only be on Mondays. But the person who the company had hired to take care of the kitchen, they felt their job was to just make it so great. But it was actually horrible. It was so bad for you. So I wish that they had not refilled it, because then the very next day, there was temptation right in your face yet again. But I'll tell you what finally got me to stop eating the peanut M&Ms. They made everybody sick because people were putting their hands in there. It was horrible. I was like, I had used the little cup to scoop out the peanut M&Ms, which I thought everybody was doing, but apparently they were not. And so we all got sick, and I was like, well, I can't eat these anymore. They're contaminated. And I was like, I wish they'd buy fun-sized peanut M&Ms in a little snack container that were wrapped individually, like for Halloween, so that we could eat these. They weren't in packets. They were just loose. It was a giant thing of gourd. Yeah, that's right, Dark Savior. Why couldn't someone use a spoon? So it's like Seinfeld. That's right, Kareem. So there's an episode for you right there. Then I'll tell you another story that I've seen other people comment on in similar situations online as well. I once overheard, this was the same guy, by the way. I don't know if you remember my story where he wanted to make a site the focus of festival movie news. And I said, nobody cares about festivals, not to the degree that's going to power a website. And he never got over it. Well, this was the same dude. He could totally be a character on the new The Office, okay? So I once heard him talking very loudly, which I thought was kind of a lot of chutzpah, considering the fact that he was talking about the people in the office. They could hear him, and he was making fun of their requests for more money, okay? It was awful. So he was like, don't these people understand? And I'm like, these people can hear you. He said, don't these people understand that part of what the benefit of working at this company isn't just the money, but the fact that they can say that they work here? And I thought that was incredible. I was like, do you think that they can go to their landlord and say, do you know who you have living in this building? Do you know how beneficial it is to you that you have someone who works at this company in your building? I think I should get some of my rent off, right? That is not how it works. And this is how this guy genuinely felt. He genuinely felt that it was such a great honor to work at this company that you didn't need to be paid a good salary. It was incredible to hear. And he wasn't being funny. He 100% felt this way. So I think that this is stuff that, this is like a new level of, because for instance, social media wasn't as big back when The Office was on. So this is stuff that we're now more aware of. People hear these and share these stories online. So I think you could have some really interesting, and I think you could not only have a funny show, but something that honestly maybe sheds some light on not great stuff that they're trying to do in offices that nobody likes. I'll watch, that's right. I do feel that The Office had some stuff that they would never be able to do today. I'm not naming anybody. I'm not crazy. I still work in this industry. Never, don't name names, unless of course it's illegal. And then you should report it to the police. But this guy wasn't breaking any laws. He was just being a jerk. And he still works there. At least the last I checked. I actually ran into him at a screening. And I didn't we didn't talk or interact, but I saw him a few seats over and I was like, and he was running that company into the ground, man. All right, I've said enough. All right, so anyway. Whew, you guys get me all excited. All right, so anyway, does anybody have any story? Let me see the poll. Let me see, we're back on our thing here. We're still there. All right. All right, so when you watch a reboot of The Office, 49% said heck no, 38% said need to see a trailer, and only 11% say sure would. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. So, I don't know. I don't know. Even after I described what it could be, although I have to say, some people might not find that funny. That's another big problem. A lot of people might be like, this is just too depressing and I'm not enjoying watching it. Jeff Abramo says, The Office is my favorite comedy of all time. I'd watch a revival with some of the original cast, but if it's an entirely new group, I don't know. They never could afford those people. And they've moved on very successfully. John Krasinski, and I don't think, oh my God, I forgot his name. Michael Scott. What's his name in real life? He doesn't work enough anymore. Oh my God, I love him too. I'm such a big fan. Freddie says, hey Grace, so happy the strike has ended. Thank you for always keeping us updated. It's my pleasure. Oh, Randy, thank you. That's very generous of you. The Office was famous for the writer's room. Stephen Merchant, Greg Daniels, BJ Novak, Mindy Kaling, Paul Lieberstein, etc., working as a team. Many writers even ended up on the show. That's a great point, Randy. It would be very justified if that show was the first one to be announced coming back, right? Steve Carell! He's got to work more, man. If I were his agent, I'd be like, somebody forgot who you were this morning. We got to get you back out there, man. Although Steve Carell, as Eric just pointed out, has office money, so he doesn't need to work. He has a ton of money as well. He's got office money. Already says, I think they should cast Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Michaela Cole. They did the fourth wall breaking and they were hilarious. Yeah, they're great. Although Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think, has really hurt herself with some horrible Hollywood roles. And Casey says, I would watch your version of the vision of The Office. They could bring back OG cast as cameos. Oh, maybe. That would be fun. That would be fun. Oh, Robbie, I'm sorry the video won't load for you. That's weird. I wonder why not. And I agree, Dr. Long Monkey. Get new people. You don't discover some new talent. It's always fun to discover new talent. Hey, Caroline Lee, what a nice thing to say. I'm so happy you got a membership as well. Hello to you in Brazil. All right. I did see Steve Carell on the morning show. I think he did a good job doing a balanced portrayal of somebody there who clearly did something awful, but he still managed to make him a little sympathetic. Oh, James Wright. I do love Severance, but that's more of a sci-fi show. And will that show ever actually come back? They apparently have such horrible problems with season 2. I don't know if it'll ever get off the ground. TV Vanua, you want to fast forward? Okay. We're already in an hour, so let's do this next story and then we'll do the Ask Me Anything. Story number 3. Boom, baby. Scorsese. He just can't help himself. I don't know why his publicist says, don't ask him about comic book movies. For the love of God, he's already said enough. But the guy just won't quit. Oh, I like you dabbing there, Leon. I like the double dab. All right, so anyway, Martin Scorsese. What did he say today? Well, Martin Scorsese said, and I guess he's going for the sympathy. I got to tell you, I bought some tickets for Killers of the Flower Moon, as I said, to see with my dad. We are still, a couple hours later, the only people in the theater. I did secure some IMAX tickets in case I wanted to see it on IMAX at AMC Lincoln Square, but I don't know if I want to sit for 4 hours in that theater, to be honest with you. I just don't know if I want to do that. But I bought tickets somewhere else, and it is, I'll check it again later, but still, only seats in the theater. So not great. So I think, he shouldn't be setting himself up for this problem, and he shouldn't be comparing himself to Nolan, because I don't think he's going to make close to what Oppenheimer did. Hey, Bay, thank you for gifting a membership. I also think he's going to find himself in a complete poop storm of political conversation once this movie comes out. I think he's going to be attacked big time, or people might just ignore it. So I think he's going to have a very difficult time. So I guess this is the calm before the storm. So what he said today was that that comic book movies need to be fought off. We have to fight off comic book movies, because if we're not, and he said that Nolan and the Safdie brothers were the people he would use as examples who were fighting off comic book movies. And you're like, Nolan? I think Scott Derrickson said, oh yes, the man who made famous Batman trilogy. I mean, Nolan uses comic book movie language. That's what he uses to succeed. So he's totally borrowing from that playbook. So it's crazy to use him as an example. That's why his movie made $900 million plus, because he did a comic book treatment of Oppenheimer. You know, very much so. Oppenheimer plays like a graphic novel to a degree. And the Safdie brothers, I like them. I think they're very talented, but they're not exactly lighting the world on fire at the box office. So anyway, Scorsese said if we don't fight off comic book movies, there will be future generations that think that's just what movies are. Now, first, that's Daniel M., that's funny. But, Steven Spielberg, he's the one who changed the game with Jaws. Jaws is the first blockbuster movie. And Steven Spielberg, of course, went on to make many of them, as did other people and Spielberg often produced all the other ones. But, there will always be blockbuster films. It's not just comic book movies. Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Alien, all kinds of movies. Everything that James Cameron has made. I mean, there are a lot of blockbuster films, and they're crucial to the success. They're the lifeblood of the industry. They're very, very important, especially as people begin to say what really needs to be seen on a big screen. So the other thing that I want to point, so then he said that we have to fight for artistic elements of movies. So I want to point out, here are some comic book movies that came out this year. Some of these movies I feel are artistic. I mean, everybody would agree that Across the Spider-Verse is a very artistic film and is doing a lot for cinema. So I think it's horrible to try and say that movie is not cinema. And then, granted, a lot of those movies are crap. But I will say, and that's why the comic book movies are kind of hurting themselves. But I think Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty sophisticated, and its commentary on animal testing and cruelty, I thought that was really great. And I thought that had some very sophisticated elements to it. Nick Dean agrees. So I feel those two movies deserve respect. I would not say anything bad about that. And then here's where it gets even more interesting. I think that what's really hurting the dramatic film is not comic book movies, but streaming services. Because what's better than a 3-hour movie? How about an 8-hour movie? And that's the problem that they're having, because really amazing artistic stories are being told on streaming services. Let's take a look at the Emmy nominations in 2022 for the 2022 season of dramas. I'll make it a little bigger so you can see. Oh, sorry, I'll see you in a minute. I'm going behind here, man. I'm going behind. All right, so here you can see Better Call Saul, Euphoria, but I think in particular, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, and Succession are 4-hour, those are like 8-hour movies. Those are like 8-hour movies that are like on par with what the best movies are. Stranger Things is a little gimmicky. And let me tell you, look at the 2023 nominations. Even more gimmicky. So this is happening in that space too. Andor, House of the Dragon, and maybe The Last of Us to a degree, is a little bit the same, right? But I think that's really interesting. Last of Us, I feel, is right on. The Last of Us is like the Dark Knight of like blockbuster shows, in my opinion, because it's just so good. It's so artistic. Is Craig Mazin making movies? No, Craig Mazin is making streaming shows. And that, I think, is what's really hurting movies. That's what I think is hurting movies. I'm glad a lot of you agree. I think that it's the streaming shows because, Marty's already getting into that space. He's like, come see my 3.5-hour movie, 4 hours with trailers. But you're like, and some of you said, I'd rather watch that from the comfort of my home, thank you. Mandy says, Grace, I feel like Martin is talking without actually seeing the good movies. It's frustrating as a comic book fan. Yes, I would agree. Like, is Scorsese going to see any of these movies? I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he's not. Which is a real shame. All right, does anybody have any comments or questions about this? And then we'll go to the Q&A section of the video. Sorry it's getting a little dark in here. It's very hard for me to light myself when it's raining outside because I don't have enough light behind me to turn on the big front light. I have some light on. Dr. Long Monkey says he's allowed to have his opinion. Of course he can, but here's the thing about having an opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion of said opinion. Asami, you want another poll? I'm not quite sure what the poll would be. Yeah, it's been raining for 3 days straight, Kay Walton. I'm over it. Alwatch says if he wants to support creativity, then speak about the strikes and speak against AI. He sure hasn't. Ooh, Alwatch! I hope Scorsese has some aloe for that burn you just gave him. That was amazing. That's right, ES. HBO's Watchmen was fantastic. Alberto says, why has no one clapped back to Scorsese? Wouldn't Robert Downey Jr., Chris Pratt, or even Amy Pascal say something about this? No, I don't think so. Why fight with Scorsese? You know, like, nobody agrees with him. I think, you know, like, I'm not going to fight with Scorsese. I wouldn't want to either. I mean, I will counter with my own opinion, but it's like, whatever, Scorsese, you do you, man. He won't give it up. I think he would get more out of seeing a comic book movie and saying he liked it and taking a picture of himself coming out of it like Tom Cruise does. I think he would do more to expand his fan base and get people to see Killers of the Flower Moon than this. You win people over with positivity, my friends. Wandering Seth says, expecting Scorsese to understand the nuances of comic book movies is like asking a scientist to comprehend the nuances of religion. That's an interesting, I like who you assigned to which category, Seth. Jacinth says, Marty is telling comic book movies to get off his lawn. That's pretty funny. Yeah, like, does Scorsese not like Jurassic Park? I'd be like, Scorsese, what's going on here? Frog Eater says, Scorsese should cut comic book movies some slack for saving movie theaters, yet he continues to act like they're that's, well, you know, I think it's big talk when he hasn't seen one of his box offices yet. I'd be like, this could be really embarrassing for you, Marty. Whelm says, I believe Scorsese asked, what do these movies give us? If he bothered to sit with regular people in theaters on opening night for Endgame, he'd know. They leave us with wonderful memories. And they're really engaging, entertaining stories. And I think they offer incredible commentary in some cases. Danny agrees with Marty, though. Oh, there's a poll. There's your poll. Do you agree with Marty? Yes? No. It's a simple one. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, anybody can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member to be able to vote in a poll. Sup says he specifically said culture and franchises driving out the mid-budget, not just comic book. Oh, Sup! Look at Sup coming in here defending Marty. Well, I think that the mid-budget is also due to streaming. It's not comic book movies that are driving out the mid-range movie. It is streaming because people feel it's not worth paying to see on the big screen when they can get a comparable experience at home, which is more comfortable and at lower price point. So again, it's streaming that's to blame for killing the mid-range movie, not comic book movies. Gorilla My Dream says, I saw Endgame in Berlin, Germany with my goddaughter, and everyone was rapt. Yeah, I'll never forget that. It was an incredible experience. I'll never forget seeing Infinity War either, when everybody got snapped. That was just really, totally incredible to hear the gasps from the audience. Like when T'Challa got snapped, people were like, is Kevin Feige insane? I was like, somebody didn't know somebody's movie was going to be a big hit when he decided to snap people. Pratik, that's right. Killers of the Flower Moon is an extremely expensive movie, but they're hoping it'll win awards. Dual Non, to vote in a poll, there should be a place to just click and vote on what your vote is. That's right, Eric Romero. Most mid-range movies are on streaming, and when they come out, people still will say, that's nice. I'm excited to see that later on streaming. That'll be our next poll. Let me do a quick one. All right, let me end this one. Do you agree with Marty? 73% no, but a respectable 26% do. And then we'll do one more. Do you pay to see mid-range movies in theaters? Yes. Yes, with subscription, like A-list. So that means it doesn't cost you any money to go, any extra money. No, and then depends on movie. Like I was going to pay to see Dumb Money in theaters. I'll pay. I think for me, it depends on the movie. I still will see some mid-range movies in theaters. Although I told you it didn't work out yesterday. I told you yesterday that it didn't work out on Saturday. So now I'm just going to watch it on digital. Sup, if you want to pay $5 to be mean, go ahead. Let's see here. Hey Grace, not sure you discussed it already, but what permanent damage will the strikes have to the film industry? Oh, we're not at the Q&A just yet, and I don't think there will be any permanent damage. Again, it's the damage is from streaming, in my opinion. Alberto, I consider mid-range any movie that costs probably like under $100 million to make. Mish says, Barbie was not a superhero movie, and I was excited to watch it in theaters. But that's still a blockbuster, though. That's still a very big movie. Reese says, what is Killers of the Flower Moon about? Oh, some trailers, I guess, are not doing a good job. Killers of the Flower Moon is about a Native American tribe that found oil on their land, and it made them very, very wealthy, very, very quickly. And it's about all the white people who descended on them to try and steal that money from them. And in some way, and there were a lot of murders that started happening. And it's actually the case that led to the creation of or partly led to the creation of the FBI, our Central Bureau of Investigation. Steven says, ironic about Scorsese lumping all comic book movies into generic formula when he has done so many white male lead mobster movies. That's true. Scorsese pretty much does usually the same thing too. This is to some degree, again, a mob movie. All right, so let's see here. Let me end the poll. There's a lot of people had something to say about this. 47% say depends on the movie. That's encouraging. So make better movies. Make better mid-range movies, Hollywood. 27% said flat out no. 14% said flat out yes. Whereas 10% are, but see, only 27% will not go to a mid-range movie in theaters. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so let's move on to the Ask Me Anything portion. Where to go? Q&A, 10 minutes. It's wow, long stream. It's 4:54. You can ask me anything you'd like until 5:04. Buck's Basement. Yes, I did see you guys commenting on that. That Jamie Lee Curtis has already been a fan of One Piece. So her saying she wanted to play the role wasn't anything new. The R-Man63 says, I don't think another Chris Reeve Superman would ever work in today's date. I think edgy is the only way. Oh, no, I don't think Superman can be edgy, though. So you have to find a different way. I don't know if James Gunn is the man to do it, quite frankly. I don't know if you need to have an edgy Superman story. I think there's still a market for wholesome. Look at Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick was not edgy at all, and people loved that thing. So why can't you do a Superman movie like that? Ethan says, what do you think about Usher doing the Super Bowl? I think it'll be great. I love the Super Bowl halftime shows. I never get to see them because I'm always covering the trailers that drop, but I'm sure he will do a good job. Inconsolable said, One Piece was a breath of fresh air, especially for Netflix. We loved it. Does it have high enough viewership to avoid the fate Netflix? Oh no, it's already been renewed, Inconsolable. It's already been renewed. You should be thrilled. It's doing very well. Ricardo Sanchez says, what are the realistic chances of ever getting a Wanda solo movie? I think it's very unlikely, Ricardo, particularly as Elizabeth Olsen starts to say she wants to do other stuff and kind of distance herself from Marvel. I think it's very unlikely. And I don't know if the window will even still be there. I mean, I think they're moving in too many different directions too quickly, and therefore they're not really covering any of them well enough. Eric Romero says, why is the Game of Thrones cast cursed? I don't know. Sometimes that just happens. Sometimes people just don't like them in other things. It's hard for them to be seen as other characters. And to be honest, I don't think they've been getting great offers. Made in Wonderland says, can renewals be given to shows when the WGA has the deal done? Well, yes, but they won't be able to do any of the actors' deals. They won't be able to finalize any of those. But they can. They can start to move forward and just renew the show. Oh, Dead Sid, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I really like your avatar. That's a very nice, fun photo. Hold on, I see I missed some stuff here. Hold on. Sup, Circus? Sup? That's right, Isaac. We're not disrespecting Martin Scorsese. The man's a legend, but I think he's missing the point here. Danny says, Grace, well, there will be a stream tomorrow. I'm going to shoot for 3 this week. I'm not sure if there will be a stream tomorrow, but I am planning on it. Adrianic, I don't think Sofia Boutella is a particularly good actress, so I wouldn't recommend her to be the new Bond girl. I just don't think she's a good actress. Let's see. Carlos says, Grace, can you tell us a little bit about what you didn't like about the new Wonder Woman comic? I didn't like bringing gender politics into it. I think that's something the Wonder Woman comic, especially after Wonder Woman 1984, needs. And I don't want to give away the ending, but I thought the ending was a little too on the nose. And it was just, I think it was not really a Wonder Woman story. It was like Tom King using the character to say like strong political statements and, but without Wonder Woman really being involved. So I wasn't really happy about it. And they took her sword away. I always hate taking Wonder Woman's sword away. Writer Boy says, long stream, but it feels like it just started. That makes me feel nice, Writer Boy. Thank you. And thank you again for your generosity today. I saw you gifting some memberships. Frog Eater says, should Disney delay Deadpool 3 to Christmas 2024 and make it the only MCU movie for 2024? So it'll feel like an event movie that'll make $1 billion. Based on what I've heard about Deadpool 3, it'll make $1 billion, for sure. It's going to be a fantastic film. Fantastic. I'll just say 2 words to you. Noah's Ark. That's all I'm going to say. It is just such a well thought out movie. I'm in awe of it. I think that what's going to happen with Deadpool 3 is it'll switch release dates again with Captain America 4. And I bet you Captain America 4 kicks off the summer and Deadpool takes that July date instead. Deadpool is so well done, it could come out whenever they wanted to. Let's see here. Arthur, I haven't heard anything about Loki season 2 yet at all. We're waiting for screeners to come out. Diego says, hi, Grace. What do you think the best place to sit in a theater is? I like the front row just as you start going up the stairs. Me too, Diego. I am someone who likes to sit towards the front. I don't understand people who want to sit towards the back. But that's where I like to sit too. I like to feel like I'm right in the middle of the action. But Connor, I will still keep reading Wonder Woman. I will still keep reading it. I like the art. And I think Tom King can sometimes be interesting, so I'll keep picking it up for at least a little bit. Oh boy, it's going fast. I'm going back. Oh my goodness. Stagger Rove says, will the strike have any impact on any potential mergers and acquisitions? I think once this gets cleared, people can maybe start paying attention to that stuff again. I don't think it will. Brian, the Doctor Who trailer confused me because I thought it was for the new season, but instead it was for like a special. And Kuti Gatwa, I forgot how to pronounce his name. He was barely in it, and I was like, what's happening? Mandy says, Grace, what do you think about the Harry Potter remake that will be made into a series? I feel like it's a terrible idea. The movies were great. It's not like it's a Percy Jackson situation. I couldn't agree more, Mandy. I think they should be telling a totally different story. Nobody wants to sit through that again. MM92 says, hi, Grace. Do you have a movie or TV show that you're most excited about getting back into production once the strikes end? Deadpool 3. Let's go. Let's see here. Jeff Ryan says, I started the day at 6 a.m. with Movie Math, now ending the day with your live stream. Mondays don't get better than this. Thanks, Jeff. And that's your first super chat. That's very nice. Sweet dreams, Jeff. Ben Verona Polsky says, hey, Grace, I never catch you live and always rewatch and can't participate. Just wanted to let you know how loved and appreciated you are. Thank you, Ben. I love and appreciate you for such a nice comment, and I'm glad you got to join in today and we got to speak. Daryl says, this is my first ever post. Just got a gifted membership. Been watching regularly since your Creed review in 2015. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Daryl. I love it. We're going on a journey together. Raphael says, Grace, what are your thoughts about Disney's Wish? You mean the movie? Because they also have a cruise ship called The Wish. But the movie has a new trailer on Wednesday, which I'm hoping to be able to react to. But I think it's probably gonna bomb. Jico says, Grace, what are your thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Studio airing on ABC instead of waiting to premiere it on Wish? I don't know. I'm excited for that 100th year celebration on Sunday night on the 15th. So I don't care. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be great. And then Ben Green says, when Marvel and Aquaman 2 bomb at the box office, maybe Marty has a point. I don't think so, Ben. I don't think that's true. I think that speaks to quality, and any movie can be bad. Let's see here. Shay says, pick my dinner tonight. Should I go make fried chicken or fried catfish to go with my mac and cheese? I saw somebody saying catfish. I'm going to go with catfish too. I think that's interesting. And I also really like catfish. Delicious fish. Michael, that's great. I'm glad you agree with everything Scorsese said. Little Baby Pizza. I am reading Nightwing. I think it's a good comic. I think it's kind of treading water a little bit, but I'm still reading it. I think everything Tom Taylor writes sounds a little bit the same, so that's a little frustrating. Like once you've read one Tom Taylor comic, you read them all. Especially when he's writing multiple comics at the same time. You're like, these are all the same, Tom. But I still read all of them. All right, let's see here. I'll watch this. Are you excited for The Amazing Race? Starts Thursday. It starts Wednesday, but I will watch it on maybe I'll watch it on Thursday night. Liam and Uremi are my number one preseason pick. I haven't met the teams. I haven't cheated at all. I don't want to see it in advance. I'm excited to meet them on the show. 80s model. Any quick, harmless thoughts about Gen V? I'll just say it's really good. It's surprisingly good. Let's see here. Adam Byer says, Grace, do you plan on watching No One Will Save You on Hulu? No, I heard it had no dialogue, and that's just really not for me. Lino says, I made it to the club at least for this month. First month after years. Lino, I'm so glad you got a gifted membership. I'm glad you'll be part of the streams for this month at least. That's fantastic. Inconsolable says, seeing Filoni go deep into EU content, extended universe content last episode, do you still believe that you think Star Wars has become too esoteric for viewership to be decent? That's a complex question. I do feel that they fractured their audience. I feel that it's not what it could be, but it's still better than was, and people aren't as upset, so I think it's a step in the right direction, hopefully. Oh, Mr. Magic, I'm so glad you enjoyed the stream. Anthony Mollet says, could the drop in the box office also be caused by consumers preferring other types of entertainment, including video games and YouTube content? Oh, I think definitely. That's why they're like, we got to end this strike before people get too used to watching other stuff. Jesse the Good Witch. Oh, it's always nice to see you, Jesse. Hi, Grace. I made it. Will we ever get to see a battle between Robot Grace and Detective Poirot? My voices? I don't know if I could do them at the same time. That would be funny. Let's see here. That's right, Poke. Steve Carell also does Gru in the Despicable Me franchise, and I bet that is a pretty payday as well. Oh, I missed some things. How did I miss this stuff? Sneaky says, have you ever fallen asleep during a screening? I just fell asleep during a movie for the first time watching The Nun 2. No, I'm always afraid that what will happen if I fall asleep in a public place. I used to take the bus home from college, and I fell asleep there once, and I was so shocked that I was okay when I woke up. But no, I've never fallen asleep watching a movie in a theater. Mandy says, Grace, I was just wondering what you think about the How to Train Your Dragon film that is being made into live action. I'm curious to see how that turns out. Adam, thank you. Thank you very much for gifting 5 memberships, Adam. Orlando Huerta says, Grace, I don't know if you got the chance to watch Talk to Me. If not, a good horror option for Halloween. A little bit gross, though. Oh, I'm already getting grossed out by Exorcist True Believer. I think I'm good with that. All right. Oh, I did fall asleep in Cats. You're right, Desnizra. I did fall asleep in Cats. I felt very safe in that screening. It was like a theater that nobody ever went to. It felt very safe. There was, that's a press screening. I did fall asleep. 80s Model says, Grace, no question. Just like using my monthly membership to say a milestone to say how thankful I am for you in the BTT community. Thanks, 80s Model. I'm glad you feel that way. And Steve says, hi, Grace. This has been a fun stream. Do you know how far into development Paradise Lost was before the strikes? I haven't heard any rumblings about pretty much anything. Oh, Danielle, I'll go back. I haven't heard any rumblings at all about any DC projects outside of Superman Legacy, really, besides like the Batman getting the director for Batman Brave and the Bold. But I think James Gunn, that's the problem and also now he's building at that huge studio. They're expanding their studio in London to film DC stuff. But that's the problem when your head of your studio is also the movie maker, that he only has so much room to do stuff. Jacob says, is Mutant Mayhem a digital streaming success? I think it's okay. I don't think it's huge, but I think it's okay. Let's see here. Stephanie, BFI, says, we're a family of 5. It's $200 with food for us to go to iPic. iPic, nice choice, Stephanie. Depends on the movie. Yeah, I think that's true. Also, when you're thinking about more than 1 or 2 people, it also gets very expensive. And I think that's why it's great that AMC has AMC A-List and Regal has Regal Unlimited card, because I think those are very beneficial. But you won't be able to get like the iPic experience that way. But yeah, I agree, Stephanie. You want to save that for something that's special. And I think it's so great that you go as a family. That's how people fall in love with loving movies. Michelle says it's raining in Brazil as well. That sounds very atmospheric. Aaron says, did you watch the Squid Game Challenge reality TV show trailer? And do you plan on watching it? I will definitely watch that game show. I thought it was weird that there were like no Asian contestants on a show that was originated out of Asia. But it was just a quick teaser. But I'm excited. It's true. And also, it really changes the tone when you have, different types of people in the competition. But I'm excited to watch it. I'll definitely watch it. I think, I think it's coming out Thanksgiving weekend. People are just for the curiosity factor going to tune in. That's a great release date for that show. Deb Deneo says, Grace, would you ever consider heading a division within a studio? I don't know if I'd ever be asked, Deb, but that's very sweet that you would think that I maybe would be. Danielle, hey, Grace, I'm going to watch The Creator on Friday. I've never seen the trailers or plot. Just your recommendation, so completely blind. Danielle, if you love sci-fi, I think you're going to have such a good time, and I am excited for you. I'm glad you're going. Let's see here. Let's see here. Rio, I have not heard about the positive test screening for Snow White, I'm afraid. Oh, it's thunderstorms in Minnesota. Ooh, very nice. And Michelle says, hey, Grace, I love watching the streams. Have you ever thought about turning these into a podcast? That way I can listen on a walk with my dog. Well, you could kind of do that now. Just, turn it on and lock your screen and you can just listen to the audio, right? And then Maidu says, I need Devin Aoki back in the Fast and the Furious. Maybe. And then Lily Aguilera says, hey, Lily, I've missed you. I just wanted to say, hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for all the content. Thanks, Lily. Diego says, what are your thoughts on pumpkin spice everything? I'm not a coffee drinker, so it's tough for me. I love you too, Andrew Boata. It's tough for me, but I do like pumpkin spice. I like the idea of pumpkin spice, and I like pumpkin pie. As you know, I can't really eat sugar, but I'll cheat a little bit during the holiday season, and pumpkin pie is definitely on my list. Thanks for gifting another membership, Writer Boy. Q&A is over. It's over. It's over. I gotta ask you. I gotta do some shout outs, and then I gotta work on editing my reviews. All right, here. Ezra, this week I'm most excited about Gen V and The Creator coming out. And then Midnight Ice says, are you going to watch One Piece so you can review season 2 when it comes out? Watch a lot? No, I don't know. I don't really think One Piece is for me. I don't know. I got a lot of other stuff. I mean, I might not even have time to watch my Castlevania screeners. Elliot, I'm not sure when we're going to see Hulkling. From what I heard, he doesn't show up in the Agatha Coven of Chaos show. All right, time for me to do shout-outs. I've got to do shout-outs. I'm sorry. Okay, so the way this works is just tell me what you're doing, where you are, what's up, just so I can interact with you and say hi. Ryan Sanchez says, just got home from class and about to catch up on the juicy stream in Texas. Yay! Matt in Michigan, always good to see you. Oh, good luck with your surgery on Wednesday. Good luck with that. Adrianic says, hi from Puerto Rico, having some power outages, but nothing will stop me from watching the stream. I'm glad you were still able to watch. Danny says, much love from Guatemala. Oh, I'm glad you like my shirt, Danny. I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. It's from Nordstrom. Timmy says, Grace, you were always a highlight in the dark nights of Malmo, Sweden. Oh, that sounds so cool. That sounds very cozy, Timmy. Let's see here. Abdiel says, I hope you don't mind. I like to pretend this is still morning movie news. Yay. Hello. Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News. Used to be a big part of my day. That's very nice. That makes me feel nice. Diana Yemi says, chilling on my last vacation day watching this stream. I hope you had a great vacation, Diana, and I'm glad that this stream was part of it. Justin Simpson says, in Sunnyvale, California, eating sushi after a 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. shift at work. Sounds like you earned it, Justin. Sushi is very good. Let's see here. Mr. Magic said, sending you big appreciation and love from Portland. Fantastic stream as always. I always love your positivity, Mr. Magic. Kay Walton also did not care for One Piece. That's interesting. Keith says, on my break at college, glad I caught a part of the live stream. Me too. While Haunted Autumn says, drinking a maple macadamia nut latte and enjoying the thunderstorms in Minnesota. Ooh. Yeah, I miss out on all the cool coffee drinks because I don't drink coffee. Inconsolable says, bummer, I haven't met someone who has seen One Piece and not enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe someday. Aiden Williams says, hi Grace, I'm currently building a Transformers model kit before my long night class starts in a few hours. Wish me luck. Good luck. I have all these things that I want to build and I haven't gotten to them. I bought the Lego DeLorean from Back to the Future and it's still in the box. I feel so bad about it. Alien Moose Studio says, autumn is here in Maine. Oh, that sounds great. I love autumn. I wish I could enjoy it because it's raining all the time. Babette says, can you go through what will happen to Ahsoka, Thrawn, Hera, Ezra, and Bo-Katan since they are not in the sequels? Well, I don't know, Babette. I got to see. I don't know what's going to happen in Dave Filoni's movie. It might not be in the sequels, but that doesn't mean they weren't maybe doing something else, right? I appreciate the interest in my thoughts, though, Babette, and I always like hearing from you. Justin Kirkendall says, I'm watching during work. I love it. I love it. We're on The Office right now. David says, love from Ireland, watching for 5 years now. Oh, yay, 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 yay. Ragu says, hi, Grace, about to head back to Mortal Kombat in Ireland. I'm loving it. Oh, I'm so happy, Ragu. Everybody seems to just love that game. The reviews have been fantastic, and I told you I thought the cutscenes were phenomenal, as good as any animated movie. Bye, Nicholas. I hope you had a good time. Senior Lullaby says, watching you while working from home, about to play Resident Evil. Senior Lullaby, I love your remote work. That's fantastic. And Justin Simpson says, in Sunnyvale, California, I already got that one with the sushi. Diego Robles says, over in LA, taking a break from my new hotel design project in Zion. Very exciting. Oh, what a cool job, Diego. That's so cool. Let's see here. Wade, this isn't gin, I swear, it's water. And Mikey says, in Manchester, UK, relaxing after cooking a prawn and spinach curry. I'm not a big curry fan, but I do love shrimp. I'm a big shrimp fan. And Hey Jay says, my girlfriend Jess and I are watching the stream while having a bit of stir fry. Hi, Jess. Lovely to catch the stream before bed. Hi from Wales. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad I was able to have it early enough that you could watch it before going to bed. I try to do my streams so that people in Europe can watch, people on the East Coast and the West Coast can all enjoy it. And then Mission Chip says, end of the stream means I have to go take out the laundry. So keep talking. I have to do chores tonight too. I'm not happy about it either. And then Caroline Lee just bought her first house this month. Oh, congratulations, Caroline, down in Brazil, right? That's very exciting. You're a homeowner. Bye, TV Voina. Let's see here. Senior Lullaby says, who's doing all this fun stuff while supposed to be working at home. What can I say? It's been a lighter day. I love it, Senior Lullaby. Why should you be at work if you don't have any work to do? Bye, Haunted Autumn. Okay, on that note, RJ14 is about to go to the gym. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you. All right, everybody. I had a lovely time talking to you. I'm going to aim for 3 streams again this week. And I'll see you very soon and look forward to a lot of videos dropping this week. And so it's already, to some degree, at least in our discussions, starting to get back a little bit to normal, which is very exciting. Okay, everybody, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.